Hello there, I'm Danielle Ralston. I am the founder and head coach here at ND Outloud. What is ND Outloud? ND Outloud is a team of neurodivergent coaches. We are neurodivergent, every single one of us. TBIs, PTSD, ADHD, autism, ADHD, and so much more.
Hello, everybody. This is Danielle and Tim with ND Outloud. So we are talking about partnering and working with other companies and how important it is for us at ND Outloud and for us personally in what we do every day to reach a broader community and support more people in ways that are really important right now. So Tim in particularly is doing a lot of this, and I'll talk about what I'm doing and how I'm doing things differently in the background over here in a minute. But Tim, tell us all that you're doing right now.
Well, where do I start? I have a dry erase board in my office in which I track everything because honestly, there are days where I'm like, okay, today is the day I'm going to focus on this, and then tomorrow I focus on something else, and then, but I try to have it organized that way. But there's a lot of times where I'm really just focusing on four different things at the same time. Even my ADHD brain has, I don't know how many tabs I have open in my browser right now. So yeah, I to kind of take a step back from a couple of years ago, given that I went through some personal hard times with the divorce. Divorce is never fun, and the financial hardship that put me in from individuals that kind of intended that to be that way. That's all I'm going to say on that. But I decided to really take the jump and get into developing a consulting business. So I did that a little over 2 years ago, and it's been pretty successful. I really want to continue to achieve more success, but that's the day-to-day battle. Danielle knows that for a while. That's there's good days and bad days, but I know that I'm on the right path towards some really incredible things, and I love that. In the summer of this year, that also included the partnership that you and I have developed. Full disclosure, Danielle and I are brother and sister, and our contacts, due to distance and a lot of other things, has been sporadic. But now we are really, really partnering with each other. It's a serious partnership, and it's something that I'm really proud of. So, just full disclosure on that. So I developed this consulting business a couple of years ago, and that the focal point is workforce development. I have a lot of expertise in that. I had a job in Hartford, Connecticut before I moved to Boise, Idaho, that was centered on that manufacturing workforce development and helping individuals get into really high-paying jobs in Connecticut's aerospace industry. And something happened when I took on this role, not really knowing what the role was even really about. It was just something in which the company took a chance on me, and I jumped into it. And I'm like, man, I really like this. I really like workforce development. I really like statistics and numbers that are related to it. And the information that I believe that the general population doesn't know about to the degree that they should. And so I really jumped into that. I moved to Boise, Idaho. I helped develop what is now the most successful youth apprenticeship grant in the United States. So I was just a small cog in that wheel, but it was a fun job. And then I took the jump to get into consulting. Because I've seen that there's so many businesses, and this is where Danielle and I talk quite a bit, lacking in how they go about their talent acquisition, specifically when it comes to just general talent acquisition, but then when it comes to individuals with disability, neurodivergent, autistic, there's a talent pool out there that employers are not tapping into the way they should. So I got into that, and that's kind of where Danielle and I kind of intersect, and we have quite a bit going on with that. And I don't want to talk the whole time here, so maybe let's stick to that first before I get into some of the other things about what we have coming as a result of that intersection that you and I have when it comes to workforce development.
So, okay, all that we have going on this year, we are Dr. Jessica's software is and her investor that has invested in her to build the software out for consulting and partnering. It's just about done. We just did some testing a little over 2 weeks ago now. And we're really excited about that. So that's part of our consulting. And we've built out an amazing team and an amazing program to be going into companies and either training or just doing the consulting, coming in and doing the workplace and disability survey, and really taking a look and helping companies modify what they're doing now with current employees. Then obviously Tim has come in and we are working on how you hire employees and how you explore finding a better talent pool from a disability community, whether it's invisible disabilities or visible disabilities, because the workforce is decreasing quickly. 40% of the workforce over the age of 60 can retire December 31st. Did you know that? It doesn't mean they're going to, but 40% of our current workforce. That's insane. And Tim and I, you've heard Tim and I talk about all of the statistics about how many people are going to be retiring over the next 5 to 7 years and all of that. But this is a big part of that. It's being able to hire from new pools. And we've talked about skill-based learning and all of those things. So we've got that coming. And those huge consulting packages, and they're all the way from just doing the wide survey all the way up through doing full training. And we have companies that we're going to do a whole entire year's worth of training for them. And then I talked to somebody today that will probably be coming on that actually has worked in government jobs and working with this type of thing and sustaining your disabled population employees over the long-term support for them. And then also somebody in leadership and career development that's coming in and partnering with us to do that. So we're adding all of these pieces to what we've already been doing. And then we've got in 2026, we have an invisible disability conference we are going to be putting on. We're hoping to do this at a very large scale. So that is going on. And then we have our small professional development conference where we're going to be working with teachers and therapists to show them how to support their disabled and invisible disability clients with some science and different protocols and things that we are doing. We have our custom software, which is a community in ADHD coaching and autism coaching app coming out this year. I mean, we have all of these things going on our side, and I am working on finding more partners and more people to be part of this team and make sure that we are supporting our community in much more comprehensive ways, because the comprehensive care that currently exists out there from other companies and things is focusing on and like hyper focusing in on one area, which most companies have to do because there are only one or two people, maybe just one, and you can't do all of the things. And that's why I'm assembling a team that is a powerhouse in every area that I possibly can, because it's so important. And I see so many gaps in the industry. And for my clients, working with one-on-one clients and having to go through ADA and trying to get accommodations and all of the things that I've been doing with my clients for the last 25 years, I've come across and up against these walls so many times that we want to make sure that we aren't doing that any longer.
Yeah, and when it comes to the fact that you and I are brother and sister, it's absolutely not nepotism. It's just really things, just kind of a phone in place. It was a random phone call where I'm like, "Hey Danielle, I just have a question," and we hopped on a real quick FaceTime, and the light bulb went off, and both of our heads right at the same exact time. I wish there was a way that we could record that moment where I'm like, wait a minute. And then, here we are, 6 months later, continuing this. And yeah, we got some big plans. In the spring, we got a presentation that we're doing to a major employer. That's going to be a part of a comprehensive training program that this employer is putting out. So I'm super excited about that. You and I are going to be partnering on that level. And we got some other ones happening as well. So that's to say that we have some openings in our calendar for 2025. So reach out to us. We have a very in-depth training that hits angles that I guarantee you as a company do not know of or are aware of, and just how much it's going to change how you go about your hiring and retention practices with your employer.
hiring, retention practices, supportive practices, accommodations, and ADA laws, and where your company fits into that and what you need to be doing for that. Like so many leadership growth for your current employees, skill-based learning, and how you can increase the knowledge that your clients have, knowledge transfer from those that are going to be retiring over the next 5 years and getting that to your employee and workforce that already is there and exists, and all of these things that we're going to be putting in place. And part of how we're doing that is who we partner with and who we are personally, each individual working with. Dr. Jessica is working with Next Consulting to build out the software, and then this software is going to be available to other coaches and other leadership teams and stuff for them to use. And we're building out the training for that and all of the things that go with that. And then there's so many of these things going. Now Tim is partnering with some really cool companies that I find all of this extremely fascinating at this point.
Yeah. So yeah, some things have happened organically. I'm sure, Danielle, you agree that when you start a business, you have this idea of where you think it's going to go, and then things sort of just go in another direction. But it's good that it did, and it kind of goes in a way that, again, it happened organically. It was natural. Well, a company called Translate Live reached out to me in March of this year and said, "Hey, we would like to get more involved in workforce development programs in the United States. Can you help us?" And since then, we have had 3-month installment contracts with the company that's been continued 3 times. And because the partnership has been wonderful, I worked with this amazing woman, Jennifer Quigley, who lives in New Jersey, and she and I are really working to have a full calendar of meetings with workforce development programs in the United States. The examples abound in terms of the contacts that we have developed, that I have helped them develop. It's been amazing. So let me just explain the platform. So the CEO of the company, his name is Peter Hayes, amazing man, has been in the forefront in developing technology that is a accommodation for individuals that are hard of hearing and deaf, but then it goes through anybody that has any language barrier, to the point that he was the person that developed the VRI, which is the video relay interpreter program that is in hospitals throughout the United States. It used to be something else, then it got bought out, and it's under a new name now. But Peter was on the forefront of that. And when he had the opportunity to kind of move on from that into something else, he developed a company called Translate Live. Translate Live had a platform called the Instant Language Assistant. And basically, it's 2 tablets that you have 2 users have a conversation, and I believe it's 206 languages and dialects that can be translated in real time, including American Sign Language through a live interpreter. And it's absolutely amazing. I've had many opportunities to use it just last week in another project that I'm working on, which I'll refer to later on in this conversation. I had a friend of mine that I made from Hungary, and we went back and forth in Hungarian through this platform, and it was mind-blowing how it worked in terms of even being able to, sometimes with the phrase, they're not quite sure what that phrase translates to from one language to another, and through this platform, we were able to do that instantly. So right now, for example, in central Pennsylvania, there is a workforce board that bought tenant devices. And it's as a result of an influx of Haitian refugees that have moved to that area. And that certain dialect of their language is one that a lot of other platforms do not support. So this platform does, and it's allowing them to tap into that talent pool and help these people to get them gainfully employed in that particular area. So it's being used as a tool to tap into talent pools. And it's just amazing to be a part of. So it had the deaf and hard of hearing focus. It had a worker accommodation focus. So, for example, Jen and I are meeting with 5 different companies just a couple of hours from now, and presented a demo. And the companies are, if I would have named them, it would blow your mind. These are incredible companies that we're meeting with. We just met with one a few weeks ago that has the well-known lumber company. So they have mills throughout the United States and Canada. And the employees that work in these mills, which are kind of slightly dangerous work, and the language barrier can kind of increase that danger. They're in the process of purchasing these to allow for communication with their employees where there's a language barrier in a safe way. So it's been really exciting to be a part of this. The intersection that we see, Danielle and I see in this, is that when we start talking to employers, we need to provide a menu of services to these employers of different things and platforms and technology that they can tap into to really help. So this particular platform, deaf and hard of hearing people in the U.S. Department of Defense, Homeland Security, and other ones has this as a platform to allow them to do their job well. So that's just one of many things that we're doing in that realm, particularly with this platform.
And the amount of doors that platforms like this offer is huge. And I see the intersection with what we do. And we have our Invisible Disability Conference coming up in 2026. And even going to Disney World, we could use something like that there if need be, if we have somebody that we need to accommodate and do that for. There are so many ways that this can be integrated into consulting, working with companies, going out in the field. Let me tell you, my husband works in home remodeling and construction, and we're in the Deep South. So who's half of the people that work for him? They speak Spanish. This is their first language. And he could use, I mean, even somebody down at that level could be using this technology to make these phone calls and all of the instructions that he has to give every day so much easier. So it's not just for large companies, it's for anyone in the smallest ways.
You know, it's interesting to that point. So let's say with your husband, and maybe we need to set up a meeting with your husband's company on this, but I have the app on my phone, and with the app, there's a QR code. Anybody can scan the QR code through the language and have that two-way conversation just like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you know, the greatest thing about it, and I wish I mentioned this way back in the beginning, is it is completely encrypted and secure. So Google Translate and Bing and some of the other ones, they work somewhat. They're not perfect. This platform literally is perfect. And but that information goes right back into the cloud and gets assimilated, and now it's basically public information. This is a secure platform to the point that when you have the conversation, so let's say this is an HR conversation and you're talking social security numbers and addresses and other personal identifiable information, as soon as you put end, the conversation's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So the security aspect of it is the biggest part of it, which is why the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Defense had just because they adhere to those requirements. So
very important. I mean, and honestly, those requirements should exist for all of us, whether you're one person or a company or whatever. These days, we need these things. So you've got Translate Live. Now you've got something else that you just announced last week, which is even cooler. So as the sister of someone who I grew up in a home with all kinds of, we have all kinds of stuff going on in our home. You're considered profoundly deaf. Melissa, our sister, is hearing impaired. I have sorry, excuse me. I get these. I've been calling the same thing for 40 years. Hard of hearing. So Melissa's hard of hearing. I have auditory processing disorder, autism and ADHD. We all are neurodivergent too, on top of it, because there's absolutely zero doubt that our sister is ADHD. And then our other brother, Adam, also has some of these things going on. And the lack of ability of parents who don't sign. My parents don't sign. I no longer can sign. And my sign language that I learned is also, I've been an adult since they switched to ASL from ESL, and my brain has never been able to make that switch ever, ever, ever. And Tim can laugh at me. That's a me thing. What you're doing now is going to change the world.
Gonna change the world. Yeah, I'm gonna try not to be emotional when I talk about this. So let's see how it goes. So again, in a way in which stars sort of aligned in a certain way. I started dating this incredible woman, Cherie, back in March, April of this year. And so like we were like just in our early stages of a relationship, which all of you know how that is, where we're just sort of getting to know each other. And Cherie has her very, very best friend in the world, who they call each other sister, but they're not blood related. And so her name is Tel. Tel is an ASL interpreter. So let's go back 25 years ago. So they meet in a mountain town in California. So we had just moved from the Midwest to California. It was sort of like a last second move. And she's on a bus, career deaf, and Tel was like, "Hi, how are you?" And obviously there was a communication barrier. So Tel immediately went home, got a sign language book, learned a bunch of words, and the next day met up with Cherie again, and they became best friends. So fast forward 25 years later, I'm dating this amazing young woman, and they're like, "Hey, we need some connections with the American deaf community. We have this AI thing that we're developing. Can you help?" And I'm like, "I'm the president of the Idaho Association for the Deaf." So I had immediate connections that we could begin to start collecting data related to American Sign Language and artificial intelligence. And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah, let's put something together." I didn't really think much of it. So I sort of like fell into this role in which I'm now the director of community relations for this company. So I started seeing some of the things that were being developed, and like that a lot of it had been developed 10 years prior in a very slow, methodical build-out process to where we are today. It is led by an incredible deaf engineer, the person that I feel is probably the smartest deaf person in the world, literally the world. And she is our CEO of the company. She is incredibly, incredibly smart. So like I started to get to know her, I started to get to know the other individuals that are part of this, including our team in Europe. And I'm like, wait a minute, something's about to happen here. And I just sort of fell into it. So if basically this is a ASL to voice or ASL to text platform, where we are in a place in which through a single camera system, we're able to read ASL and have it be converted into a caption at the bottom through like a ChatGPT sort of like a look. And it is incredibly accurate and it's incredibly fast. So let's now drop out to the 30,000-foot view on this and why this is important, why this is big. If anybody in tech knows that tech companies like Amazon and Google and X and Meta and whoever else is in a place in which they have been trying to perfect hand tracking technology. So here's the hand. AI generally knows that this is the hand. But when you do this and now you move a finger, a lot of AI technology does not know it's a hand anymore because they think that a hand is just 5 fingers that kind of move and jiggle. So when you take away a finger, it doesn't know what a hand is. We're in a place in which we have been able to teach AI what a hand is, and our big mantra is, if we're in a place in which AI now knows what a hand is and how a hand moves, who better to teach how a hand moves than the American deaf community and really the worldwide deaf community? So we're in a place now in which we have several hundreds of words and phrases that the AI knows and is able to recognize. And we could do it in such a way that we can now operate smart homes using American Sign Language. We're able to even go well beyond that. Our eventual goal is to completely assimilate the whole American Sign language into AI to a point that deaf people will be able to go into a restaurant and, let's say it's McDonald's, I want a number 5 with a large French fries and Coke, completely in ASL. It is a game changer and a life changer for so many deaf people. And circling back to that conversation on that bus between my girlfriend Cherie and her best friend Terrell, who's the CEO of the company and an ASL interpreter. They were like, wouldn't it be cool if like one day we would not need to depend on anything else for communication, that we would just have technology be able to take that over. So you'd be able to wear a pair of glasses and be able to have two-way communication as a result of that. That's happening now. And it's incredible.
As somebody, like, for me, and again, I don't sign any longer. Our parents didn't. This is going to change so many kids' lives to have communication, because there are some adults that they want to learn, they want to communicate with their children, they want to be able to do these things, and they just don't have the physical ability, the mental ability. Learning a new language, even sign language, things that you would think, oh, sign language is as big of a deal as learning Chinese. Yes, it is. And this is going to open up schools, McDonald's, like this is going to open up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
That's one of the great
takeaways
that we saw from this. Well, we have dozens of videos of young children signing into the camera, "Hey Alexa, change the Christmas lights to blue." And I just see the faces light up. That wow, like my language did that.
Something else understands me.
Yes.
And not just understands, but accepts and changes it into something that I can see. That's just so cool.
Yeah, it really is. So, yeah, we're in the stages now. We talked to a company while we were in Seattle last week, and I'm not going to go much into that, but it was a good conversation. And we're focused on several other things. One of the things that we're really big on is there are so many technical platforms out there that deaf people have been able to adapt for their use. So, like for example, Apple came out with FaceTime. That was just a cool thing for people to communicate in that way. Now, deaf people use that as the way to be able to communicate. I FaceTime all day, every day. That I prefer that over text. And there's a lot of other platforms like this with text. A lot of Microsoft Teams and Zoom had closed caption, all that. So, but there's never been a technical platform that has been developed for people and by deaf people. So, like we want large companies to invest in us, but we are not going to allow them to invest in a certain way that would change who we are and change the intention of this company. So that's why we're going to wait until the right partner comes along, and we can wait as long as we want. We're self-funded. We have no investment dollars at all because we don't want anybody telling us what to do. So it's really exciting. We're definitely on the right path. And last week we were in Seattle, and it changed my life. It changed everyone's lives.
Last week I shared a couple of your posts last week. I just sitting back as the sister watching you do these things and watching a company like this come out. Because I am well aware my failure in being able to communicate with my siblings well is a pretty major failure. And I understand that, but there's also nothing I could do about that. At this point, I can't even hold a cup without a handle on it because I can't. And this is even for aging parents. Like we have old interpreters that were with us in school and stuff who just can't sign like they used to anymore. So this is giving them communication ability back that they may have lost too.
Yeah, absolutely. And, something else I just want to mention that, shifting gears slightly to the same space is when we speak about nepotism, my daughter, is now involved in this project. And, the great thing about this is my daughter is a coda, so a child of a deaf adult. Her mother is deaf. She has a brother, who's deaf, and then myself. And so she had taken on the mantra of being the super coda that's involved in, having that perspective as a part of the company's, vision and outlook. But, she knows that it's going to change her mother's life and change her dad's life, and that she's so excited to be a part of it as well. And so last week, she was actually one of our quasi interpreters for the project. And there were so many people that came up to me and said, "Wait a minute, that's your daughter?" So a lot of they were complimenting me in the fact that I don't look old enough to have a daughter that's 18 years old. So that's good. That's cool. But they're like, there's no way that she's 18. She's 25. She's got to be 30. She can't be 18. Because she had, she really like took this on and, made it a passion. So, it's become like a family affair, organically. And, yeah, it's just amazing. So there's definitely an intersection with what we're doing in that ND Out Loud and being in the forefront of this. And, we'll wait to see how it goes, but
I have huge goals here at ND Loud, and anybody that knows me knows that this is my favorite time of year, all of the planning. I actually had to buy extra planners this year to plan out everything that ND Out Loud is doing in the coming months. And one of my major goals, and Tim doesn't know this yet, we have a custom app coming out that will be in the App Store this year for coaching and all of that. We have the conference going on. We have consulting. I have committed that 20% of everything that I have coming in is going to help design, because I want to see, as somebody who's related to this project, whether through Tim and all of that, I want to see money going to where it needs to go right now. And it is so important. And I don't know how that's going to work. I haven't even talked to Tim about it. I haven't talked to anybody else about it, but I know that every single thing that I can do to make this happen it's so important. And I think we, as the invisible disability community, the disability community, we need to start supporting each other more and making these things happen. And this is why we're doing this video today. This is very different from what we normally do. We're having a very different conversation than we normally do. But I want this out here. And I think that the idea of having venture capitalists invest in these softwares, it's amazing. And that is an amazing way to do things. But I've also worked for startups where it's fundamentally changed the messaging, how things happen, how that happens. We, as a disability community, whether it's invisible, neurodivergence, hearing impairment, whatever it is, we need to be investing back into our own communities in very huge ways, especially with all of this technology and all of this amazing thing that is going to be happening. I think we need to all commit to, I don't care if it's $5 a year, that's all you can invest. We need to start investing back into each other in ways that actually matter. And what's going to matter is changing our lives. And changing our lives is through technology, through adaptability, through accommodations, through all of the things that we can do. So how are you going to change the lives of your community this year? How are you going to commit to that? Do you not have the money? Great. That's fine. Reach out to Tim, reach out to me. We will find a way for you to be able to help make changes in this community. One of the things that we didn't mention is we are founding our own coaching certification program. There's a lot of things happening in the background, and we are going to have a skill-based apprenticeship version of it so that no financial investment needs to be made by some of our students, because it is so important to be supporting this community and building this community in ways that nobody else is willing to do, because they're all after making money from this. So if you don't have the money to invest in your community and to help your community, reach out to Tim and I. We will show you how you can do it with a little bit of elbow grease and a little bit of time. Reach out to us. How are you going to change your community? I want to hear from you. How do you want to change your community? What do you want to see change in your community? And how are you going to invest in it? I'm challenging everyone. This is my end of the year 2026 challenge to every single person that has some form of disability, has a sibling, daughter, son, husband, whatever. I'm challenging you to start investing in this community in a huge way in 2026. So how are you going to invest? That's my challenge to you. Reach out to us, ask us the questions, even if you don't have the money to pay us or pay some or invest or donate or whatever. There is still a way for you to be part of this community. Just ask. Please ask. Have an amazing day. This is just before Christmas. So we're going to say Merry Christmas on 2025. Happy New Year. Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. I wish you the happiest of times and let's make a change.
Love you all.